first objective was to really get a grasp of Mozambique's stand on this, because there are different perceptions of how SADC and other organs such as the UN and African Union should intervene in Mozambique. And based on the prevailing experiences of international interventions in such situations, terrorists like in Sahel, Mozambique's stance has been misunderstood for a while, and this had hampered SADC's swift intervention. So finally, my understanding and in Mozambique is that finally SADC has understood Mozambique's stand, that Mozambique should have a lead in these counterinsurgency efforts, and SADC should come in and in a sort of enhancing Mozambique's strategies and counterinsurgency plan, which is you have the humanitarian situation. You have, and Mozambique has asked for SADC and international assistance in humanitarian, in professionalization of its forces, and also in logistical and international cooperation. In South Africa, for example, scholars in South Africa and elsewhere in the world understood previously that Mozambique needed boots on the ground, such as what happens in Sahel, for example. And Mozambique's stand was exactly contrary to that. And finally, even ANC also in South Africa is of the opinion that no foreign boots on the ground, but Mozambique should lead this counterinsurgency, and any help and any support should enhance and should build capacity of Mozambicans themselves to go on the front line and deal with that. But then the humanitarian situation, the professionalization, support to the soldiers, as well as the international cooperation with intelligence and etc., definitely should bring in different SADC and EU, United States, etc. So that's what's happening. So my understanding and what Mozambique feels is that finally SADC had understood and had adhered to Mozambique's initiative and Mozambique's plan and Mozambique's resolute decision to lead this, contrary to what has been aired even in South Africa and elsewhere in the SADC region, that okay, there should be boots on the ground. This has never produced any concrete result, either in the Sahel, for example, or even in the Middle East. There have been troops, Russian, Americans, and elsewhere. Even in Congo, for example, there is a UN peacekeeping, and the most durable UN peacekeeping mission in Africa and in the world, in Congo, without concrete resolution. So Mozambique has decided to do something different and lead this war on terror itself and with its allies on its back.
What do you make, Egidio, of the fact that yesterday's summit didn't make an immediate deployment of a SADC military intervention force? What does that say, perhaps, about the Mozambican President Philip Nyusi's position? What does it signal with that move not being made?
Well, the concrete resolution that there will be no military deployment in Mozambique, at least to fight terrorists. There might be military deployment to train Mozambicans to fight terrorism. This is what you need to be sure of, for now at least. Because there have been no progress. For example, in Congo, there is SADC military deployment there. In Mali, there are more than 20 state-of-the-art helicopters from France. But look what's happening in Niger. Look what's happening in Mali, for example. So things should be dealt with differently in Mozambique. It's like international cooperation with development and with institution and capacity building. And this is what Mozambique is sticking to. Because according to President Nussi, and according to the government and to the states, these counter-insurgency efforts is up to the Mozambicans to deal with, and it can do and can be dealt with successfully with SADC cooperation. So that's what even SADC also is taking to that theory, that you don't need actually international military deployment. You need international cooperation on specifics, building capacity for Mozambicans to deal with the situation on the front line first, and the international cooperation coming in with humanitarian assistance, with capacity building, with training, and with sharing intelligence. Because you know what? It's not military that will end with this terrorism. It will be with intelligence, by cutting logistics ties, by cutting communication, by making it difficult for arms deal, arms trade, drugs trade, human trafficking. So that's what, I think the region and our bandits should understand that what these terrorists are looking for is not necessarily to hamper, for example, the gas project in Palma. They are looking for safe havens where they should carry out with their illicit trafficking, drug trafficking, for example. And and the SADC region knows that Mozambique has been an important drug trafficking route, an important human trafficking route, and in Cabo Delgado, for example, there have been for long illicit mineral and illicit logging, trafficking, and these illicit commerce has been put on danger by the Mozambican government in the last 6 to 7 years. Back in 2016, there have been chased more than 300 families, most of them Tanzanians and Ugandan, who've been trafficking and practicing illegal mining. So if you look to the political economy of these terrorists, you can understand that what they are actually trying to do is to disrupt the government's presence and to chase everybody from that, so that they can carry on their illicit economy there, such as, for example, Boko Haram does in Nigeria, and profit mostly from international commerce of pepper and fish.
Egidio, one cannot deny that there needs to be a proper needs assessment in this regard to match what the region can realistically offer. But when it comes to the impact of a proportionate regional response from SADC and the entire team looking into the situation to make sure that there is a way forward, what impact do you believe that this response will have on the day-to-day activities and the movement of these insurgents?
Well, I'll not be pessimistic, but I think that in the region, those who had actually helped Mozambique with military equipment, at least, might be South Africa, Angola, but then Angola is also interested in Congo, and I don't think it will come in swiftly. But South Africa can help in with equipment, with technology, with even intelligence. Then we have Tanzania, which is definitely is also feeling in its blood with these terrorists. In Kwara province, for example, is really feeling the adverse consequences of this. But then we have Malawi, Zimbabwe can come in with training. So it's really, I'm not expecting too much from concrete support of the region, but at least if each of SADC regions could cooperate in making sure that each of the countries is not used by terrorism, for example, for training, for recruiting, and even for making it if make sure that if the country is not used as a route of terrorists to cross to Mozambique, then that would be of a very significant help. Other than that, I can't see, because there is no equipment in the region. If you see the military capacity, I don't think that will help even, and because there's not much in the region, other than South Africa, Angola, maybe Botswana, something like that. Because what Mozambique needs actually is this. For example, the fighting drones, for example, the reconnaissance drones, for example, military armored vehicles, for example. So and sea patrol. So what Mozambique needs is actually concrete things. It's not about deployment of troops, because even would be another learning circle that would take up to, for example, 2 to 3 years. Again, this has happened in other countries, and has not yielded desired results. And the Mozambican Defense and Security Forces Learning Circle has come to its end, and fortunately, Mozambicans need and have idea of what clearly they need. It's not boots on the ground. It's support, yes, other than from logistical intelligence, humanitarian aid, and etc. So it's like it's another type of support that Mozambicans need and Mozambican government needs, which I coin it as aid with development.
Thank you so much, Egidio. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you for your input and for waking up with us this morning. Communication strategist and media scholar Egidio Vas Raposo, speaking there about the impact that SADC could have in going into Mozambique